The opening scene features an 8-year-old little girl named Rose Daniels, who is seen talking to some unseen entity in the thicket in the back of her house. She is sad because her loving elder brother is about to leave for his university education. Rose lives with her father, Nate Daniels, her mother, Mary Daniels, and her brother, Eric Daniels. It appears that the Daniels have a very good bond with their next-door neighbors, the Waters. They often gather at one another's place to have their meals and dinners together. Dan Waters and Nate are not just neighbors, but childhood buddies, and his daughter Jessica loves Rose as her own little sister. However, it is clear that Jessica and Eric do not get along well with each other, probably because of some upsetting history, and perhaps because of cooties. One day, the Daniels arrange a little farewell party for Eric and invite their neighbors as well as some of Eric's friends. Nate announces that his son is going to attend his dream college, UMW, with a distinguished academic and athletic scholarship. Everyone is excited about his new adventure, but poor Rose feels quite the opposite. She does not want to be apart from her brother. As a result, she abruptly leaves the lunch table and walks into the woods. Eric follows and discovers her next to a trunk where he had written Rose's and his initials. He reassures her that everything will be fine because her big brother will never leave her side, no matter where he goes, unless he goes to jail. Later that evening, Nate and Mary leave for some work, while Eric also prepares for his rugby practice. As a result, Jessica decides to stay with Rose until her parents return. Before Eric departs, he has a private moment with Jessica. It is at this moment we learn that he likes her. He has even proposed to her in the past, but she turned him down. He asks if she has changed her heart, to which she replies in the negative. This clearly makes him upset, but despite this, he opposes when his friends make disparaging remarks about Jessica. As night falls, Jessica reads Rose a bedtime story and tucks her in. Before falling asleep, the little girl confides in her about her friend in the woods. Jessica is initially perplexed, but she doesn't want to offend her, so she claims that she believes in her, unlike Eric, who thinks it's nothing more than her imagination. Later, the parents return home and discover that Rose is missing. Mary asks the sleeping Eric, but he also has no idea about her whereabouts. In a state of panic, she goes to the Waters' place and demands her daughter's whereabouts because it was Jessica who was with her most recently. As all of this is happening, Eric does not seem to be concerned at all, indicating that something is wrong with them. Unable to locate the girl anywhere, the parents file a missing persons report. Thankfully, the police managed to find Rose within a few hours in the woods, which should have been obvious. This news finally enables the parents to breathe a sigh of relief, while Eric remains visibly discontent. As they return home with Rose, Eric senses something amiss in his sister's behavior because she can't even find her own room. She wanders around the house for a while, appearing as if she is there for the first time. The following morning, Mary prepares Rose's favorite breakfast, but the little girl refuses to eat it. She also has developed an interest in wildlife TV shows that depict animals feeding on the flesh of others.
I just love it when they kill.
Later, Mary asks her if she wants to play with her best friend Anna tomorrow, but much to her astonishment, Rose doesn't even recognize her best friend. Mary starts to get worried upon witnessing her strange behavior. She confides it in her husband and suggests that they take her for therapy, but Nate dismisses her concern, telling her not to overthink it. One night, Eric peeks into Rose's room and finds her standing in front of the mirror with unsettling expressions. Sensing someone watching her, Rose turns around, revealing her entirely black eyes. Eric freaks out and hastily shuts the door. Hearing this sound, the parents rush towards Rose's room, but find her normal in bed. This incident raises a strong suspicion in Eric's mind, and he thinks that something evil has possessed her body. The next day, he witnesses another unusual sight: Rose consuming worms from the garden.
Delicious and nutritious.
On another night, Eric ventures to the woods with a flashlight in search of the answers to the ongoing unusual events. While walking, he senses the presence of something and is suddenly startled by a movement. He turns around to check, only to see Jessica staring from her window in a creepy way. Unable to stay there any longer, Eric quickly returns home. In the morning, he prepares some normal bacon for Rose for breakfast, but the girl doesn't want to eat it.
That's not worms.
When he insists, she consumes it but soon goes outside to throw up. Eric observes this from the window, but decides not to confront her. Later at night, he attends a party where he enjoys some drinks with his friends. There, he also spots a hot girl and starts dancing with her. A few moments later, he sees Jessica and an injured Rose on the dark and chaotic dance floor. She's about to do the worm. A chill runs down Eric's spine, prompting him to leave the party abruptly. Following this, he heads home, driving through the dark and empty road. During this, he notices Rose in the back seat, which scares his heart out. This causes him to crash his car into the sideline concrete. He hastily gets out of his car and checks the back seat. Initially, he finds no one inside, but he is soon startled by a strange creature that runs towards the woods. Not long after, a police patrol car arrives at the scene and the officer detains Eric for drunk driving and speeding. Afterwards, Nate comes to the police station and bails his son out from custody. Back home, Mary is very upset by his irresponsible behavior, unaware of what's actually going on with him. On the other hand, Jessica, despite maintaining a positive relationship with Eric's family, tries to distance herself from them. One evening, she and her father stop by a cafe where they unintentionally bump into Eric and his father. Nate invites them to join them for the dinner, to which Dan agrees. During this, Jessica feels very uneasy, but she tries to appear normal. However, she can't restrain herself for much longer, and as a result, she walks away from the place. Her father follows her, while Nate and Eric remain confused. As the days pass by, Jessica resorts to shutting herself in her room and avoiding everyone. On a particular night, Eric looks through his binoculars at Jessica's room like a proper creepy simp boy and discovers that she is preparing to injure herself. Panicked, he rushes to her place and wakes her parents up. When they arrive at her room, they are shocked to see her in such a miserable state. As a result, Jessica is rushed to the hospital. Dan is baffled as to why his cheery daughter made such a drastic move. While waiting for her to regain her consciousness, Dan talks to Eric and asks if he knows about anything that is bothering Jessica. Eric responds in the negative and tells him that they are not as close as they used to be. When Dan asks for the reason, Eric opts not to disclose about their relationship and claims that their separate peer groups led them to be apart. Upon returning back home, he locks himself inside the bathroom and stands in front of the mirror. He closes his eyes as several visions of Jessica and Rose deeply unsettle him. Later, he goes to his room and looks at a photo album, reminiscing some good memories from the past. A short while later, Mary walks into his room to inform him that she and his father will be away for work the next day. She asks if he can look after Rose, to which he says yes. The following morning, as soon as the parents leave, Eric confronts Rose and asks who she is and what she wants from him. He also claims that he is well aware she is not his sister, but rather a malevolent supernatural being. Rose's eyes then turn black.
I'm the Worm Queen.
As she responds that she wants nothing. However, she knows that he wants to kill her. This scares Eric, so he quickly grabs a kitchen knife. Just then, the disguised Rose says that they now have company. Eric turns around to look through the window and finds Jessica standing outside his house. She is staring at him as if she has a lot of hatred for him. Following this, Eric rushes to her and yells at her, asking why she is troubling him so much. In a fit of rage, he even pushes Rose to the ground before walking inside his home. Later, Eric goes to the shower, where he screams his anger out. After a while, he decides to kill the disguised Rose and end all of this once and for all. He then grabs a knife and breaks into her room. He does not find the girl there, but instead notices several sketches that depict a strange creature and a particular place in the woods. Eric seems to know that spot, so he heads towards it, carrying a spade with him. Once there, he starts digging the ground and soon reveals Rose's hand. Here, it is disclosed that Eric was the one who murdered Rose and hid her body in the woods. Right then, the possessed Rose shows up at the scene and tells him that she was there and saw everything. The mysterious entity then reveals its true form, which is like a dangerous beast. Despite being in shock, Eric does not flee the scene because he is already tired of running away from the truth. He then begs for death so that he can get freedom from all of this mental trauma trauma. However, the creature wants to avenge Rose's death in some other way. The entity inflicts its sharp nails into Eric's mind, forcing him to relive memories which he is desperately trying to forget. The scene then cuts to a flashback, and we are shown the same night when Eric's parents were away for work. During that time, Rose woke up to the screaming voice of Jessica. Upon heading downstairs, she witnessed Eric forcing himself on her. She shouted at her brother to stop, which caused Eric to freeze for a while. This distraction allowed Jessica to free herself and run back to her place. After that, Eric tried to manipulate Rose to keep her mouth shut, but the girl refused to be persuaded and ran away into the woods. A chase ensued, during which Rose's foot slipped and she ended up banging her head on a hard surface, resulting in her bleeding heavily. The poor girl pleaded with her brother for help, but Eric left her to die, just to keep his mistake hidden. He then buried her there and returned back home, unaware of the fact that Rose's invisible friend witnessed everything. This explains why Eric behaved unusually earlier when Rose returned home. We also learn that Jessica had been behaving in such a way because she couldn't express her humiliation to anyone, as she didn't want to strain the relationship between the two families. Back in the present, the creature opts not to grant Eric an easy death, but rather to torment him with memories and burn him with regrets. Now that it has disclosed everything to Jessica, she calls the police to have him arrested. In the final scene, we see Jessica thrashing Eric with a spade as the police arrive to take him into custody. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.